So, JavaScript. Why do I care? This is the scripting language that forms the basis of JavaScript. What do I need? VS Code, Mozilla Developer Documentation, W3 Schools. How do I do it? This example shows an operation being performed. Here we can see that we have multiplication, and we're using an arrow function. Take the example shown above and change it to an addition operation. Here's the solution. We modify this arrow operation to take an x plus y, and then we get the expected output. So, JavaScript arrow functions. With arrow functions, you don't have to type the function keyword, the return keyword, or the curly brackets. Arrow functions are not supported by Internet Explorer 11 or earlier. This demonstration shows you how to use an arrow function. What if, what about? What new features were introduced in ES6 that were not available in other versions of ES5 and below? So let and const. Let allows you to assign a variable that is modifiable, whereas const is read-only. So here we have let and const. Let and const can't touch the global scope from function or block scope. And var can't touch the global scope from function scope, but can from block scope. You can see the var in a window object. With const and let const and arrow functions are not hoisted. However, var functions are. We can also look at const and reference types. So arrow functions are still just functions. There are a few differences though. The binding is the primary functional difference. There's no parameters. If we just have one parameter, we can omit all of these curly braces and we can return anything after the arrow indicator. That's the process of creating an arrow function. Okay, so we'll look at an arrow function here. Arrow function expressions. An arrow function is a compact alternative to traditional function expressions, but is limited and can't be used in all situations. We'll look at let. Here's an example of let. So we have var is equal to 10, and then here we can reassign the variable to 2. Let's take a look at const. The const keyword allows you to declare a const JavaScript variable with a constant value. Constants are similar to let variables, except that the value cannot be changed. Here we have x, and we're setting it to const. There's other operations that can be performed, right? Rest is a parameter passed into a function definition that can accept any number of parameters. The parameters are treated as an array of all parameters passed in. Then we also have spread. Spread is an argument passed into a function call. Spread allows us to pass in arrays that may be too large to normally process. You can pass in arrays that are too big. You'll just get a bunch of undefined stack at the end. An object destructuring is mostly a useful shorthand, but much cleaner. We can destructure objects in our parameters to pull out the values we need. So for example, a function that is a greeting, right? We can specify greeting, parenthesis, bracket, bracket, name, age. We'll take a look at that here. So destructuring assignment. Destructuring assignment syntax is a JavaScript expression that makes it possible to unpack values. So here's an example of destructuring. We can run this. Here's another example. So this goes through the example of destructuring.